Now, once again, Raymond Arroyo.
With school just starting, your kids are probably coming home with reading lists even as we speak. My next guest is a former attorney who found her true calling as a children's book author. She's written the hugely successful Dork Diaries series, with the 10th installment due out in October. Here to discuss her work, as well as the importance of great storytelling and how to inspire your kids to read, please help me welcome Rachel RENEE RUSSELL. So
Yes.
great to have you here. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start with this is such an incredible story, your personal story. You were at Northwestern University.
That is correct.
And you decide you're going to study writing. You've always wanted to do this, and there's a great children's author teaching, and he tells you what?
He tells me that he hopes that I have a backup profession because my manuscript that I submitted was not very good. So.
Oh my God. And then you decide to pursue the law.
Yes, I decided to become an attorney, and then I ended up practicing law for 20 years.
And didn't try to write at any point in between?
No, well, I would do it just for fun and for family, but definitely not as a career. I figured, I didn't have the talent, so.
And then at some point, your marriage of 25 years, your husband leaves you.
Yes, after 25 years of marriage, it was over, and I was left financially devastated. And I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
And you have a cancer scare in the midst of this?
Yes, I had a cancer scare, and it was just horrible, horrible, horrible. And I had to do something to kind of keep myself going. So I thought, I had always dreamed of writing a children's book. So I thought, well, let me sit down, and that's when I seriously put my heart into trying again.
Now, Rachel, how do you do that when you're in the midst of that kind of suffering? For some people, it's, they just want to kind of cocoon up and never come out. Where did you find the energy, the initiative to go to the table and face that blank page? Or was it a retreat for you? Was it therapeutic for you?
It was definitely therapeutic. I was also desperately in financial straits. And I thought, well, if I could help to launch this book, that would be an additional income for my daughters and I. And by it being a humor type book, it was very, very therapeutic as well.
Wow.
So I enjoyed writing it.
And I mean, 20 million copies in print, probably more now.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it has become a global phenomenon. What I love about this is, and we should tell people a little bit about your lead character, about Nikki Maxwell, and your daughters and their collaboration with you. To start with Nikki Maxwell, where did she come from?
Nikki Maxwell is a combination of my two daughters.
Oh.
Growing up, my daughters were bullied a bit, and they were kind of outsiders. They studied really hard. They enjoyed school, and when the teacher asked a question, they'd raise their hands. And some of the kids in the classroom didn't take to that, so they were kind of teased a little bit and bullied. So having to deal with that as a mom, and it worried me because the first thing you feel like was, what's wrong with my kids? And then you think, well, what's wrong with me as a parent? And why are my children having this problem? So I was able to take all of that, good, bad, and ugly, and put it into Dork Diaries and add some humor, and children all over the world have been able to relate to it.
No, it's really resonated. I mean, my own daughter has read, it was one of the first series she sort of took to, and on her own initiative read from top to bottom, and then wanted the next one.
Yes,
so, I
very
mean,
good.
it's accessible because you've got the pictures, and yet there's this humorous, ongoing back and forth. The other characters come in. Tell me about the collaboration. Nikki, your daughter, is your illustrator.
Yes, Nikki, my younger daughter, and she's the namesake of the main character as well. She's my illustrator, and then my older daughter, Erin, is the co-author. So the three of us, work together.
But it's really a family affair.
Oh, most
I mean,
definitely.
your brother is involved. Your sister booked this interview.
Exactly.
A producer
yes,
said.
my sister's my manager. My brother's my office manager. My mom handles fan letters, and then my two daughters write with me.
Wow.
So definitely, we call ourselves Team Dork.
Team Dork. And I hear there's a reality show coming out. Or
yes,
do a
we're in
reality
talks with Discovery Channel regarding that.
Team Dork is going to hit the big time again.
Yes.
Tell me about the misadventures of Max Crumbly, which is your next series, pitched to boys?
Yes, we had such a wonderful response with Dork Diaries, with girls and boys, but I wanted to try a boy main character. So The Misadventures of Max Crumbly will be released in April of 2016, and we have a boy main character. So.
Wow. That's going to be a whole new
Yes, exactly.
world for
I'm
you.
very, very excited about it as well.
I am launching a new literacy initiative this fall called Storyented, and the idea is that stories orient our lives,
Most
and
definitely.
if you find your story, you can find your way. I want to ask you a few questions that I ask every author that comes on here.
Okay.
Your favorite children's book is what?
My favorite children's book is Harriet the Spy by Louise Fitzhugh. And the reason why I love it is because, number one, it's a diary, and I think that was my inspiration, like, what, 40-something odd years later.
You
when
read
I
it as
sat
a
down.
child?
Oh, yeah, I read it as a child, and I loved it. And like Nikki Maxwell, she was a little ostracized, and she kept a diary, and one day she lost it, and other children found it, and they were not happy with some of the things.
They were kind of, yeah, they were, and not too kind to her, as I recall.
And then back in those days, I kind of felt a little ostracized, you know, with some of the classmates and that too. So I love, love, love that book, and I'd even say today it's part of the inspiration for Dork Diaries as well.
What is your least favorite book?
My least favorite book?
Be honest.
As a child, I was really picky about the books I read, so I have to admit, as a young child, I really never came across a book I didn't like. Until high school, I struggled through War and Peace. So I would say War and Peace.
We all struggled through War and Peace. It's that big.
Yes.
Tell me, was there a story that helped storient your life, where you gleaned a life lesson that you carry with you today? And what was it?
Again, I would probably go back to Harriet the Spy.
Really?
And that, and probably the Diary of Anne Frank. You can see the diary here.
motif.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I think I loved that the authors were able to immerse themselves in the writing, and you just could get into their heads. So I think as an author, that was probably the most inspiring thing for me.
Where do you write and why? Why do you write there?
Pretty much in my office, only because I have a comfortable chair and a big desk and the computer and all of that.
And you do it every day?
Every day, yes. I write every day.
This is the job. I
This
show
is
up
my
at 9,
full-time
I leave
job,
at, you told me 50 hours a
yes,
week?
I probably, some evenings I may write till 11 o'clock midnight, you know. So.
And how long does it take you to write one book in the
Dork
series?
Diaries book would be about 5 months, 6 months.
Wow. And that's not, does that count editing the whole thing or no?
Yeah, that's everything.
That's everything.
That's everything. And we do 2 a year, so you can imagine what our schedule is like.
Wow. So that's why you really can't travel all that much to promote because you're writing all the time.
Very true.
If you could choose one writer as a mentor, past or present, who would it be?
Again, I would probably say Meg Cabot. Again, author of Princess Diaries. I love humor, so I would probably say her.
Where do your best ideas come from? I mean, this series, much of it, you told me earlier, is based a little on your own experience and then on the audience, the experiences of your daughters.
Yeah, a lot of, I would say, is probably based on the experiences my daughters had in middle school and high school. So I was able to take the good, bad, and ugly and some of the experiences that they, you know, that impacted them greatly and put it in the book. And then, of course, mix a little humor in there because, you know, we don't want it to be traumatic, you know, but.
Did faith play a role at all in your getting
most definitely.
through that terrible period, but then as you write these books?
Yes, yes, it did, because at one point I'm like, oh, you know, why me, because, you know, I was faithful and went to church and all that, and it's just like my life, the bottom fell out of my life, and I just couldn't figure out why. But there was a bigger plan for me, and, you know, it was one thing to practice law in my hometown. Now I'm reaching, you know, children all over the world and inspiring them, and, you know, so I think it was sad to go through, but ultimately a lot of good came out of it.
Yeah,
so,
and that God was sort of preparing you for this, through this dark period.
Most definitely.
And I mean, you've done such an amazing work. What advice would you give parents who are having difficulty getting their kids to read?
I would say to find something that the child can relate to, that's fun, or if it's based on a hobby or something they're passionate about. And once they find that, you will find them under the covers with a flashlight reading and reading and reading and reading. So it's just a matter of finding that special
What do you
book.
hear from the girls and boys who come up to you during these school visits? I mean, I've read reports on these. I mean, these are like it's practically like they're chasing you down the street.
Oh,
I mean, they
goodness.
want a hug, they want a selfie, they want you
Yeah.
to sign everything they own. What do they tell you?
Mostly that they love the books. The books makes them really happy. That a lot of the experiences that Nikki Maxwell has had, they've lived through those too. There's a mean girl. Sometimes their parents
Mackenzie.
don't quite understand them. There's too much homework. So most of the time I'm told that the books are their lives and that, you know, they just relate to them and that they're hilarious. So.
If you could write anything else, what would it be?
I'd like to tackle a fantasy, I think.
Really?
Yes.
Like what?
Probably where a character goes into another world or there's magic involved or, you know, just because I'm writing realistic fiction now. So that would just
Right.
be very, very different.
You are, but it's really fun,
Yes.
realistic fiction. Now, a lot of people thought that this was inspired by The Diary of a Wimpy Kid. You said no, it wasn't.
No, it was inspired by my two children. However, did realize there was a Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So
You realized there was a market, but this was
Yes.
kind of happening just. This released not long after. Diary of a
I think
Wimpy
within
Kid,
a
right?
year.
Yeah.
Yes, within a year.
So it was it's very interesting because it's sort of
Yes.
one for really was for
Exactly.
boys and the others for girls.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
fascinating. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here and for
you.
your wonderful work.
Thank you.
Dork Diaries, the latest number 10, Tales of a Not So Perfect Pet Sitter, will be available at bookstores and online everywhere October 20th. Rachel, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
and
Thank you for
taking the
having
time.
me.
Now, that is all the time we have for now. Until next week, the show continues on Facebook and Twitter. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. The links are at RaymondArroyo.com. If you'd like me to visit your group or school, who knows, Rachel might come with me if I can guilt her into coming, or to your store during my Will Wilder and the Relic of Perilous Falls book tour this March, email me at Raymond@RaymondArroyo.com. Put Will Wilder in the subject line and send me your contact info. You can also pre-order the book now at the EWTN catalog, Amazon, and all the other retailers.